Basically, if you are in opposition in any way, shape, or form to Putin and to his regime, and you show that opposition, the best case is you get arrested. The worst case is you get killed. And so I have a number of friends who are opposition politicians and civil society activists, and they're either dead, in jail, or in exile. There's just no oxygen at all in Russia anymore to say what you think.
Well, just before we spoke to you, you heard there from the UK Foreign Secretary saying that because the war has not gone as Putin would have hoped, there is an element almost of desperation and this new act that when we come out of the winter and the troop movement has ceased and we're able to have kind of active conflict zones again, we are going to see everything but the kitchen sink thrown at this. He will use every potential power in his arsenal. Should the world be worried about what that means?
Well, the Ukrainians, first and foremost, should be worried because a lot more people are going to die there because of Vladimir Putin. Now, Vladimir Putin has no ability or capacity to back down from this war. If he shows any sign of compromise or is even intimates at negotiation, it's a sign of weakness. Any weakness is a risk, a serious risk to his power. And if he's not in power, then he'll end up going to jail, losing his money, he has a lot of money, and dying. And so Putin is going to throw everything at it, as the foreign secretary said. He's drafted a lot of new people into the army. He's getting weapons from wherever he can get weapons from North Korea and Iran. There's rumors now that the Chinese may even start supplying him with weapons. And so it's going to be a very ugly fight. Now, having said that, the Ukrainians are very good at fighting. The Ukrainians also have a lot of good military equipment now. They're getting tanks from the UK and from Germany and from the United States. They're getting long-range artillery. There's a lot that they can fight with, and so I can imagine that the Ukrainians could very well repel these whatever the Russians have in store for them, and the Ukrainians could end up like we did last summer, where we saw them regaining 54% of their territory. So it's hard to predict how it's going to play itself out, but the one thing we can predict is a lot of loss of life and a lot of tragedy.
Well, there's generally only two ways that conflicts end. One is with one side gaining total victory, and the other is with some form of suing for peace. And it sounds from what you're saying that you actually don't believe that we're in a position for either of these to be likely anytime soon.
Yeah, my prediction is that on the next anniversary of this war, we'll be sitting here talking about many similar things. I don't see Putin backing down. And the Ukrainians have been so terrorized. So many people have been murdered, so many innocent people murdered, raped, mutilated, tortured. The Ukrainians have no appetite to let Putin have anything from them, and nor should he. And so there's not going to be a negotiation. And it is possible that the Ukrainians could win this war, but everybody in the West has been tiptoeing around this whole concept of escalation. We somehow think that if we supply Putin, we supply the Ukrainians with weapons, that's going to escalate Putin. But he's the one escalating. All we're doing is trying to help them defend themselves. And so I wish that the US and the UK and the EU would just put aside this worry about upsetting Putin, give the Ukrainians everything that they asked for, and let the Ukrainians get on with their job to finish this off, because they could if they had the appropriate weaponry to do so.